There was a young samurai student who once went to his master. He bowed his head and said, "I want to become the greatest swordsman alive. How long will it take me?" The master looked at him and replied, 10 years. The student lifted his head a bit impatient and said, "What if I train twice as hard, day and night with no breaks?" The master paused for a moment and said, 20 years. The student was completely confused. How does working harder make it take longer? But that answer stayed with me because it completely changed how I look at ambition. And by the end of this video, it might change how you see it too. Okay, so now let me just be real with you for a second. You have a lot of things you want to do, like a lot. You want to get fit, learn something new, start something, be more productive, wake up earlier, read more, the list goes on. And the weird thing is, you actually care about all of it. You're not someone who doesn't have goals, you have too many goals. But somehow at the end of the day, most of them just sit there. Nothing moves. And you go to bed feeling like you wasted another day. And then you tell yourself you're lazy. But the thing is, lazy people don't feel bad about doing nothing. Lazy people are fine and they're comfortable. But you feel guilty all day, don't you? That guilt you carry around is not laziness. That's actually ambition. It's just stuck. And the reason it's stuck is not because you need more motivation or a better morning routine or some new app. The reason it's stuck is because you're trying to do too much at once, and your brain just shuts down when it gets overwhelmed. Think about it. When you have 10 things you want to do and no clear starting point, what happens? You scroll your phone for an hour instead, because your brain needs a break from the pressure of all those decisions. That's the actual problem. And once you see it that way, the fix becomes a lot simpler. So this is where the samurai story comes back. The master told the student that training harder would actually take longer, not because hard work is bad, but because the student's mindset was wrong. He was so focused on reaching the destination quickly that he never really settled into the process. In his mind, every practice session was just a step to get there faster, not something to fully experience, learn from, and improve in. He wanted to skip the boring, slow part where nothing looks impressive yet, where no one is clapping for you, where it feels like you're not making progress at all. But that's the part where everything is actually happening. That's where your foundation, habits, and real skill starts forming quietly without any attention. And if your mind is always in a rush, you miss all of it. And that's exactly what most of us do. We don't fail because we're lazy. We fail because we're impatient. We want to go from zero to results in 30 days. We make these massive plans on Sunday night, gym every day, wake up at 5 a.m., no social media, read 30 pages, work on the side hustle for 2 hours, and by Tuesday, it's all gone, and we feel worse than before we started. This is the all or nothing trap. Either you're doing everything perfectly or you're doing nothing, and most of the time, life is not perfect, so you end up doing nothing. The Japanese figured out a better way a long time ago. They called it Kaizen. Kaizen just means continuous improvement, small, steady, every day. That's it. After World War II, Japan used this idea to rebuild their entire economy. Toyota built their whole company around it. The idea was simple. Don't try to fix everything at once. Just find one small thing to make today better, and then do the same thing tomorrow and the day after. The math behind this is crazy. If you get just 1% better at something every single day, after 1 year, you're 37 times better than when you started. And it's not 37% better, it's 37 times. That's how compound growth works. Small things stack up in ways that feel almost impossible until you see it happening. James Clear talks about this in Atomic Habits. He uses the example of the British cycling team. For about 100 years, they were basically irrelevant. Nobody cared about British cycling. Then a new coach came in and stopped trying to make dramatic changes. Instead, he just looked for tiny improvements in everything: the bike seat, the tires, even the pillows the rider slept on. Each thing was maybe 1% better, but all of it added up. A few years later, that same team won the Tour de France, and then won it again and again. 1%, that was the whole strategy. The reason most people never do this is because 1% feels embarrassing. It feels too small to matter. Your brain wants to see big moves, but big moves are also the reason you burn out after 3 days. The slow, boring, consistent 1% is what actually works. So how do you actually do this? Let me give you the real steps. First thing, pick one thing, just one. One area of your life you want to work on for the next 30 days. I know that feels painful because you want to fix everything, but remember the samurai. The impatience to do everything at once is what makes you end up doing nothing. Pick one: health, a skill, your sleep, whatever matters most right now. One thing. Second thing, make your daily habits so small it almost feels stupid, like actually embarrassingly small. If you want to work out, your habit is not go to the gym for an hour. Your habit is to just put your gym shoes on. That's it. If you want to read more, your habit is to open the book, not to read a chapter, just open it. If you want to write, your habit is to open the document and type one sentence. This sounds like nothing, but this is the whole game, because the hardest part of any habit is starting. Once you got your shoes on, you'll probably take a few steps, and once you've opened the book, you'll probably read a page. The tiny action removes the resistance. And resistance is what kills habits before they ever become habits. A researcher at Stanford named B.J. Fogg spent years studying this. His conclusion was simple. Motivation is not reliable. You won't always feel motivated, but if you make the habit small enough, you don't need motivation. You just need to decide to start, and starting becomes easy when the bar is that low. Third thing, attach your habit to something you already do. This is called habit stacking. You already make coffee every morning, so while the coffee is brewing, you do your 5 minutes of reading or stretching or whatever your habit is. You already eat lunch, so you spend the last 5 minutes of lunch doing something intentional. You're not adding time to your day. You're just using time that already exists and just putting it to work. Fourth thing, get a paper calendar and mark an X on every day you do the habit. Old school, I know, but it works. After a few days, you got a chain of X's on that calendar. And the thing that happens next is interesting. You don't want to break the chain. Jerry Seinfeld used this method for his entire career. He wrote a joke every day, put an X on the calendar, and his only rule was don't break the chain. The goal stopped being be a great comedian. The goal became just don't break the chain today. Much easier to wake up to. Now I want to talk about what happens when you fall off, because you will. Life gets busy, you have a bad week, you miss a day, then 2 days, then somehow a week goes by. And most people at this point do something really damaging. They treat the missed days as proof that they're a failure, and they quit completely. I already broke my streak, what's the point? Don't do that. There's a simple rule for this. Never miss twice in a row. Miss one day, fine. That's life. But the moment you miss a second day in a row, you're not just missing a day anymore. You're starting a new habit. And that habit is quitting. So your only job after a missed day is to show up the next day. Not with a bigger version of the habit to make up for it. Just the same tiny habit as always. One day off doesn't undo your progress. A pattern of giving up does. So here's where I want to leave you. You're not lazy. You've just been trying to go from 0 to 100 without any numbers in between. You've been waiting until you feel ready enough, motivated enough, or free enough to do everything at once. And that day never really comes. The samurai's master wasn't being harsh. He was being honest. The student's obsession with going fast was the very thing that would have kept him slow. The person who wins is not the one who trains hardest for 1 week. It's the one who shows up every day, even when it's boring, even when the progress is invisible, even when it's just 1%. That's Kaizen. That's the whole thing. Pick one thing, make it small, do it every day. Don't break the chain. Get back up when you do. 5 years from now, you're going to be somewhere no matter what. The only question is whether you spent those 5 years waiting for the perfect moment to start or quietly building 1% at a time, that's all. So what's your 1% for today? Drop it in the comments, make it official, and if Kaizen makes sense to you but you still can't get yourself to take even that first tiny step, there's a reason for that. Your brain is literally treating your dream like a threat. The psychology behind it is wild, and I broke it all down in this video. It's showing on your screen, you can give it a watch.